Our civil rights project is titled Life in Segregation. As you can see on our first title presentation, we have the three most inspirational people of the civil rights movement.
Segregation in the 1950s and 60s was strongly approved by the American people. No minority had the same rights as white American men. Blacks, Mexican, and any other person that was colored were treated poorly. Diners, bathrooms, seats on the bus, etc. were separated, and most of the colored people got the poor side.
This picture shows a sign saying colored waiting room. Blacks and whites were not equal to the American people in the 1950s and 1960s. They had almost different everything from different water fountains and bathrooms to different schools and churches.
Blacks were forced to move away from the white communities and live in the suburbs of major cities. Would you really want to force somebody out of their home just because they're a different skin tone than you? The way the whites treated blacks was one of the worst things that the white race has done, and yet it's still done to this day. Blacks even had their own camping grounds that only blacks were allowed to operate. No black man was allowed to do the things that he wanted to do without having the white man stomp on it and tell him that he cannot do it.
Blacks were separated and were forced to go to different schools as white. They were also not allowed to live in the same community as white. White people wanted only whites to live in the same community, no blacks or other colored people. Whites wanted nothing to do with colored people, and sometimes to this day, it is still the same.
Whites went on strike so they wouldn't have to go to school and have to be near the African Americans. They treated them like they weren't human beings, and in the white Americans' eyes, they weren't humans. They were peasants, and the only thing they were good for was doing work that the white man didn't want to do themselves.
Violence was always an option to try to get your point across for which side you took, but it was never the answer. Yes, violence gets noticed fast and easy, and it's easy to do, but it's not the right way to do things. Peaceful protest was the way to get your points across because it was slow and had a lot of meaning to it. It would also take days or even weeks, but it would eventually cause the people to cave in and help out the blacks.